Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I'm Sanyukta Saxena, and today hope you enjoyed the last project that we did, and today we'll be furthering our journey and learning a few more fragments before we move on to our next project, right? So let's get started, and I'm going to now start with a string which itself is a fragment, and then we are going to be learning some more new fragments, right? So just putting my 4 dots in place. This is a regular square tile that I'm using, and with a very light hand I'm going to join these dots to form a border with a sense of gratitude and appreciation towards the art form. And then I'm going to place a square in between, somewhere in between, not exactly, I'm not going to measure it, right? So probably here, and then I'm going to extend each side of the square towards the border which is facing it, like this, and going to create a tangle called stoic. So I'm going to create 2 divisions in each, like this, right? So we get a couple of sections here to play around with and to practice some fragments, right? So let's get started. So I'm just going to use a bolder nib, probably 08, and just highlight my string, or you can also ink the center. I'm using a 08 nib here, which is a bolder nib. I want the string to be bold enough, right? So I have this string itself can be used as a fragment. This is basically a tangle called stoic or twile, right? And then I'm going to just add these lines. I'm penning my string because I want these sections to be discrete for my fragments. Yeah, so this is the string that we are going to be working on today. Might as well ink your border. Right, and give it 2 minutes to dry before we start tangling. So now the center section ink has dried up. Now let us start tangling. So I'm going to be first starting with some fragments which are generally drawn in orbs, inside orbs, but again there is no hard and fast rule. As I mentioned earlier also, one way to play around with fragments is to play around with the shape inside which you insert it, right? So this one is going to go like eek inside a circle, like this, and just ink these small little spaces. It's that simple, right? So in case you want to insert something inside, you can do that, or you can leave it as it is. So I'm showing it again, just like a spring. Originally the tangle eek, drawn like cursive e's, joined with each other. Just go back and ink the small little spaces, and if you wish you can add an orb inside. Third one. So take your time and enjoy the stroke. Right, and one more. So there will be drawing behind here, that's okay. And finally ink, right? So this space, if you want, you can insert some orbs, leave a highlight and fill it in You can ink it completely. You can add lines, whatever you feel like, right? So that's one fragment. Let's move on to another one. So the second one also, I'm going to draw inside orbs. So I'm first going to place my orbs. So this one looks quite like coffee beans to me. I've drawn a line in the center and then I'm going to draw these curved lines emanating from the stem. Looks quite like coffee beans to me, but you can also visualize it like leaves, petals, whatever you feel like, right? So what I did is drew a curvy line in the center and drawing these just like we have the veins in a leaf, drawing a leaf inside a circle. Looks pretty nice in a bunch. You can always use fragments with your regular tangles. There is no hard and fast rule, just that they are little more versatile because they have the ability to form patterns with themselves also, each other also, right? So that's one plus point with. So this place I am probably going to ink. Up to you what you want to do. You can add small orbs, yeah. Right? So this is the second fragment. Let us move on to the third. I'm again going to insert some orbs and we will try another tangle, another fragment. Right? So let's try the third one. In this one, I'm just going to add a spiral and add lines like Marasu. Like this, yeah. So basically drawing a printum inside and then adding lines just the way we draw in the tangle Marasu. Like this. Small little spaces. You can add tipple or you can add anything else of your choice. Yeah, and finally the fourth one. Right, small bits of places. I'm going to add tipple this time. You can also ink it. Yeah. So those are three fragments. Let's move on to the fourth. Again, I'm going to insert some orbs. And then I'm going to insert a loop, a four-cornered loop like this. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Right? So once we have inserted the loop, I'm just going to add some plain lines in the rest of the spaces. that. So this inside section can be bigger, right? So it depends on how you have drawn it. You can always make the inside section bigger and the loops can be more far spaced, right? So in this case I'm going to highlight the loop by inking it. Like this, yeah. You can also leave a highlight if you wish. So just inserting some lines in the leftover space and inking the loops. Yeah, so that's one more fragment. Again, you can add small little printums there in the rest of the space. Yeah, so let's move on to the next. So I'm now going to divide it into 3 and move to the next fragment. So the first fragment that I'm going to be drawing here is something like floors. So I'm first going to round my ends of the line. Right? Just like we draw diamonds in floors. And then I'm also going to draw a diamond in between, or probably I'll just draw a plus sign inside running in between all the squares, and then add a diamond in the center also, right? So that's another fragment, just like the tangled floors. Yes. So let us move on to the second one. Again, going to split this section into squares, right? And then adding a nice muka, and then adding these small dots or squares over it. Something like Hollis with some embellishment, right? If you want, you can add a little zen by rounding the corners of this fragment, just like we did in the previous one. You can also alternate the direction of the Hollis or muka or fescue, whatever you want to call. Not fescue exactly, muka or Hollis. So I'm changing directions here. Right, simple fragment to draw. You can already visualize how they can form meta patterns when you put them in a larger grid. These are just one line of the pattern. Yeah, if you want to embellish a little more, add a little moon in between, and the fragment looks more fuller, but that's entirely optional. Yeah, if you wish to do it, you can do that. If you have spaces, you can do that, else just leave it the way it was. Yeah, Let's move on to the next. Right, this is a simple version of the tangle hurry, or its simple lines. First we drew this line, just that the lines will not cut each other at any point, and then fill up each section just like the tangle hybrid. Right, so we are not crossing lines anywhere. Right, so that's more like the tangle hybrid. Yeah, so there are a couple of more tangles which are totally line based, fragments which are totally line based, and they have the capacity to form these metapatterns when placed in different grids. This is just one of them. There are many such. Yeah, again starting with the X, ensuring that you don't cross lines at anywhere, and then filling up each section just like hybrid, or you can go on and aura the lines turn by turn. You will get the same effect. Yeah, and finally the fourth one. Yeah, and then each section, or this line, then this line, then this line, then this line, and you get the same woven effect. It's the same thing. Yeah, right, so we are done with a couple of fragments here, and then I'm moving to the fourth space that I have. Let us insert another fragment here. So I'm going with a simple fragment like this, loops on four corners. Right, so these loops can be very close to each other or they can be far away, and then I'm going to just ink this section. Right, so that's one more. You can highlight the loops a little more. Nice droplet kind of shapes. Right, that's one more fragment. So again continue this like this, continue like this, continue like this, and continue like this. Right, again I'm going to continue like this, like this, like this, and like this, and then ink the rest. So they are pretty much capable of being interwoven. They have been made in such a way that they too form patterns when combined, when placed in adjacent blocks. Right, so take your time. Yeah, so you can see what kind of shape is formed. Yeah, enhance the loop a little more. Right, So we are done with 4 square fragments. Let us now move on to triangular. Creating the grid first. Right? So I'm going to start with a simple one here. Place a dot in the center and just draw some lines with a little curve emanating from the center, changing direction halfway through, going right till the end. Yeah, simple to draw. Slight curve to the lines. Just going around inside the triangle. Yeah, rotate your tile. Yeah, again the same exercise here. Yeah, simple fragment to draw. In this section again we will draw a simple one. Draw 3 petal shapes facing the 3 corners and add a dot in the center. That's about it. Now if you want you can add embellishments, something like this, but it's entirely up to you. You may or may not do that. Again 1 petal, 2 petal, 3 petal, a dot in the center, small little embellishment which is optional. Right? A nice way to enhance the look of triangular fragments is to add an aura inside, and same with square, you can always add a coffered look and the fragments look better. Yeah, it highlights the fragments more. Yeah, so that's another fragment. Let's move on to another one. So this one I'm just going to use a tangled bronze chair. So just going to add auras, these curvy auras on 3 sides, just like bales, right? And then just fill in the inside with bronze chair or tipple, whatever you want to call it, just that they are little more prominent than a usual tipple would be. So I'm repeating the lines to make them a little more prominent. Right? Another simple fragment. So let us move on to the fourth. Very similar to what we have drawn here, just that we are going to ink the rest of the section. Right? So I have drawn 3 petals, right, and I am going to ink the rest of the section. So again capable of forming beautiful meta pattern when combined. Right, again 1 petal, 2 petal, 3 petal, and then you can leave one like that. Right, so I'm going to ink alternate ones, probably that will look better here. Right, so let's do the next one. then ink this one again. What you can also do here is ink the flower and the outer space alternatively. Yeah, even that is possible. So let's do that. In this one, let's ink the flower. Yeah, let's ink the flower. So we have learned a couple of fragments in this session. You can just draw along with me and practice, and then we will also do another project where we'll explore more of these fragments. Try placing them in different grids in different ways, and how do they form meta patterns. Today we are just learning how to draw these fragments. Yeah. So let us now shade. So shading, as far as this grid is concerned, should be just like we shade borders. However, when we do a project, we will explore shading the fragments individually. For example, this fragment looks very nice when you shade on one side and highlight the other. However, in this grid, I would like to shade it just like borders. Yeah, so let's blend. Make sure your ink has dried up, otherwise you will end up smudging the ink or damaging the paper. Here the ink is still wet, so I am skipping that right now. So some of you did post the question that the string is not very clear how to draw it. I did show how to draw the string. Probably you have skipped that portion. So just watch the first video as far as the project is concerned, and I have shown slowly how to draw the string on which I am working. However, if you're not able to follow that, it's okay. The main aim of the project is to practice the fragments. So you can just draw, scribble any string, create some sections on your scrap paper, on your page, and then just start to draw the fragments the way I am. Right? So string is not important there. You can choose any random string in case you're not able to follow. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I don't think we need any more shading. Let it be subtle. Yes, adding a highlight is a good idea when it comes to borders. I'm just adding little white in the center of my fragments to add a little highlight. You can do that to highlight your fragments, or you can do away with that, whichever way you feel like, right? Some mystic in the center. And just a little highlight, more highlight for the string. just adding a little more darkness under the string. You can also add some gray there, so the lines will feel like they are going under each other. Right, so that's our tile for today with fragments. Right, so let us initial it now. Right, initial your tile, sign and date it. And I shall see you again as we practice some more fragments with different reticulars. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.